Today, hospital officials confirmed that the explosive devices detonated contained metal fragments. We talked about that a bit earlier, and Trace Gallagher has more on that live from our West Coast newsroom today. Trace?
And if I can go back, Megan, just kind of expound on the breaking news that Bill Hemmer brought us about those pressure cookers at the top of the hour, with more reporting, wonderful reporting by Jennifer Griffin and Catherine Harridge, kind of giving us more detail about these 4 or 6 quart pressure cookers they believe might be behind this. The cookers apparently were in a backpack, and in those backpacks was also a board, and the cooker may or may not have been attached to a board, and outside the board there may have been a jar of nails and BBs and pellets inside the jar. The unclear thing about this, Megan, is what the explosive was inside of that backpack, but there is some speculation the explosive, whatever it was, may not have been tamped down very tightly, and that may have led to the explosion going outward instead of upward. We could also point out that back in May of 2010, there was an attempted attack on Times Square, and they found about 130 different firecrackers inside a pressure cooker. And you mentioned at the top of the hour a man named Nasser Abdo was arrested in Killeen, Texas. He was believed to have been wanting to bomb some restaurants where soldiers at Fort Hood frequented, and he too was found with 2 pressure cookers. Now, again, we do not know what the explosive material was inside these, but the very word improvised explosive device means these homemade bombs are built with really whatever you have on hand. The area, you said earlier, Megan, in Boston was swept for explosives a couple of times, but as experts point out, detecting explosives is often very difficult, especially if they're in liquid form that can be mixed up at the scene. That's the reason that airplanes will not let people on board with more than 3 ounces of liquids, because the more you have, the more you can mix up. Whatever the device was, pressure cooker or not, whatever it was detonated with, experts say these bombs always leave a very distinct signature. Listen here.
If you're seeing something built from items, chemicals that are underneath your kitchen sink, that's a whole different thing. So the explosive is going to set the signature more than anything else. But still, it's the type of components that were used that may give us a general idea of who may be responsible as it compared to previous events.
And now, of course, it's up to investigators, Megan, to try and piece all this together and find out what the trigger was and exactly what the IED was made up of.